Good morning, day 333. I think that's a good number. It got me excited this morning. I was like, ooh, that's a cool number. And we're finishing up the book of James. And just to show you, we finally got a break in the humidity today. This is why people come to Florida this time of year. Mid 60s. I think it's going to get up to the low 70s today. Don't be jealous. I'm sharing it with you the best I can. But one of those beautiful days without the humidity. So may find a spot to even work outside today. It's going to be a work day today. All right, so the book of James, I'm titling today, Walk with God. And James talks about a few things here that I'm going to give my spin or what landed on me as I walk. And I'm also reading another book right now called Sacred Pace. So I think that's also filtering in and really aligns with the message of James. He's saying, make sure you stay close to God. Don't run ahead of him and start making your own plans because you don't know what tomorrow brings. And when you rely just on your own plans, that's arrogant. And then it changes your focus. When we can make plans, and the wording I use is to hold it loosely. Like, I think this is where, I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do. But, I also keep the eyes of and ears of my heart open, which is why I spend so much time now in stillness and reflection so that I can just tune into what he's calling me to do. And if I need to make an alteration in what I thought was his plan, my plan together, or if I get too far ahead of him, and I know my red flags now of when I get too far ahead, when I'm running and he's back there walking and he's like, okay, good luck. Come back when you're ready. And that's the nice thing. He's always there. His timing is not our timing. And we can get so excited and caught up in our own goals and ambitions that sometimes we can miss the whispers or the inner GPS going, oh, reroute, detour, turn this way. And we're just like, oh, I know the way. No, I don't need a map. I don't need you. Like, I'm going. And, when I first set out on my sort of transformation journey, I did it differently this time. I'm doing it at a much slower pace. I still get ahead of myself sometimes, ahead of God, and go my own way. But he usually lets me know. And I now know a lot of my red flags, like warning. And, I had my own mapped out plan in the beginning, but I held it loosely. And as he redirected me, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not time for that yet. I really wanted to do that next. I want that result. I want that outcome. But then he reveals something to me and says, no, you got some stuff over here you need to work on. Let's do that. And so slowing down to God's pace, the pace of the universe, whatever word you use, divine consciousness, universe, your inner knowing, like whatever is the higher power, the higher part of whatever we're all connected to. Hey, good morning. Like, hey, don't get so far ahead and build practices into your life that allow you to connect with your divine direction, your divine pace, and not the world's pace. He talks a lot about the world, and when you live according to the world, you can't do both. You just can't do both. Unless, actually, let me retract and restate that. Like, I want to use my words carefully here. when you're at God's pace, you can seemingly on the outside live according to both. It might look that way to other people, but you know that because he's what allows us to live in the world, but not of the world, not dictated by the world, not dependent on the world, like fully independent. The ability to walk your path. Brene Brown calls it belonging to yourself. Not only her, but Maya Angelou, like lots of people talk about this. But daring greatly and to be willing to do life differently. And sometimes you will feel alone. You will feel, people will look at you like you're weird and they don't understand. But God never fails. His love never fails. And God is love, so love never fails. When you walk in integrity and in love, and then sometimes another author and scientist and psychotherapist that I really like is Caroline Leaf. And she uses the term freaking out in love, in the love zone. So you can still be fully human, still feel all the emotions, but you kind of know all of this, and then you allow yourself to go through let the ego have its inner temper tantrum. You have safe people that maybe you can go and have that tantrum with as you are wrestling with slowing down, not reacting from the ego, not letting the ego get in charge, but still, and then integrating and then calming down, breathing, sleeping on things, spending time with things before it allows you to respond and be responsible with your life, your words, with love, without reacting. The ability to respond. You're responsive, you're responsible, and even when you're in conflict with people, James talks a lot about that. Even when you're in conflict with people, when you are walking with God and walking at God's pace and in God's truth, you have time to slow down even in your anger and go, oh, wow, I'm really slipping over here into judgment. I'm focusing back on the world and people and how this person, and here I am. All I have to do is worry about myself. I don't get to judge other people. That's not my job. It's not my job. That doesn't mean we sugarcoat things or don't say things for what they are, because you can still do that in love and integrity, and knowing and without even judgment, like non-attachment, non-judgment, like it is what it is. And so he doesn't call us to not be in reality, but we don't have to be caught up in it and the judge and jury and executioner of it, because we have our own logs in our eye. Like, we need to worry about what's happening in here, and in the psychological world and philosophical world, in the higher consciousness and conscious living, we all know that people are mirrors to us. So what you see in another people, if you spot it, you got it, in layman's terms. So it's always an invitation to look within. Whatever you're seeing on the outside is still a part of also you and what you've going on, because that's how our brains work. We see things that are on our radar. And sometimes when we're not willing to see it in ourselves, we can really get irritated by it with other people. And then it's, like, it's not my problem. It's your problem. And I'm now going to come over and judge and fix and fight, or, whatever. I call it right fighting. But when you walk at God's pace and walk with God, universe, spirit, divine consciousness, your inner knowing, whatever you want to call it, it's a different way of living. It brings you back to wholeness, back to integrity, back to being able to live in the present and not being dictated by the past or the future. You can move towards the future with some plans. It's not wrong to have plans, we have to make sure that we're always willing to adjust our plans with, if we get different directions, a detour, a request. Because if we don't, it'll eventually catch up with us. Now, God works everything together for the good. Like there's never, we use it all. When you go in a wrong direction or do something imperfect, it allows for humanity. We're imperfect humans. And we're not always going to get it right. We're going to let the ego get in charge. But when you are committed to humility and humbleness and love, the minute you have a conviction about it and you're willing to be humble, that's the start eating that humble pie, start liking the taste of it. You can always get back at the pace you need to be and get back even in alignment with other people, with life, with yourself. And I'm not sure even that word is the word I want to use, integrity. Like Henry Cloud defines that word as the ability to meet the demands of reality. No, not the ability, the courage, because it does take courage to be humble, to be honest, without also being mean or conniving, because you have to check in with your motives. And whether or not you're living in the world and of the world and by the world, or if you're living within God, within love, which allows you to live in the world without getting caught up in it. That requires the law and rules and all of that. Living in love sets you free from all of that. It's a really paradoxical thing. So in order to move into full consciousness and conscious living, you have to be open. You have to work on breaking the habit of black and white thinking, right or wrong, fixed, non-dual thinking. You have to open yourself up to both and. And it's never, life on this planet as a human, it's never either or, never. Okay, well, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to continue my walk and stop talking and walk with God at a slow pace today, enjoying the beauty. Life is wonderful. Every day brings new possibilities, opportunities, clarity, as long as you're willing. I think the willingness to be humble is the secret sauce. That is what Jesus came and role modeled. And that's really hard for humans. Humility is one of the hardest things because you have to give up the ego. You have to not necessarily give up the ego, but you have to be willing to not be. It's just an inner roommate making a lot of noise. Like you don't follow. It's not running the show. Okay. Have a beautiful day. Day 333 for me. Finishing the book of James, and now we go on to, oh gosh, I forgot what's next. We'll find out. All right, bye.